2011, a year that will never be forgotten in the history of gaming, a year that will forever change way of designing games, a year in which Skyrim, Portal 2, Deus Ex were exposed to the world. Anyone that knows a little bit about history of games know how important those properties were. You can still see people talking about them. And some of them people want to avoid at any cost. They shaped next worlds to explore, showed unique ways in storytelling, invented new ways to play. And this is only a fraction of what was offered to the audience at that time. It was something truly remarkable, and it isn't even the end of it. It was only 2 years after Minecraft got released by Notch with his crowdfunding. The hearts were still on fire with this game, which was getting better and better every month, along with its popularity. It showed that indie developers have a chance, that dreams about creating successful games that could interest players with original ideas may become true. Proved that gamers can be passionate about experiences that aren't smoothed out by hundreds of employees or piles of money, but by those filled with passion and ingenuity. Everyone wanted to be like Minecraft. Small studios were formed to express thoughts and creations that were hidden deep in the closet. Notch started a new era, and in 2011 we could see new games that were creating due to his masterpiece. Among those new games, Project Zomboid showed up. Created by the Indie Stone, small studio that actually funded their project with crowdfunding. They made few screenshots of how the game looked like and said how they want to create a zombie survival sandbox directly inspired by Romero movies and books made by Max Brooks, creator of World War Z. It would be much more realistic than other games and hit with a much different tone than usual, as your character was destined to die, and your job was to survive as long as possible. The idea itself was pretty original at the time, and the game got enough exposure to be made. After sleepless nights of creating the game, with some complications like living next to a bomber or laptops with games stolen from an apartment, the demo was finally released, got successful, then released on Steam in 2013, and now, after 9 years of systematic development, the game is still in beta. But I can say it evolved in many ways. If I was to describe this game in one sentence, I would say, if a zombie apocalypse was in real life. The setting is extremely realistic, except zombies of course, and it does a really good job at showing it. Food or water meters in standard survival games are for amateurs. Here you also need to think about weather and temperature, illness, depression, boredom, hygiene, clothing. You even need to take care of your diet, as you can get obese or skinny. You also have skills that you develop in Skyrim-like way. The more you do it, the better you are at it. However, reading books about a certain skill like carpentry doesn't upgrade your skill, but the rate at which you learn it. It simulates a theoretical study of a subject, and then practicing it with putting it to real-life scenarios. This is such a small thing, a tiny detail, but it really improves the experience. And all of those things are only connected to the state of the character itself. You also have vehicle systems, creating bases, moving furniture, and more and more and more. Before even starting a game, you can modify your character by giving it negative or positive traits, introducing a variation to the persons you play as. All of this merged together to create comprehensive manipulation of the character and other objects. With this game, you can decide exactly what you want to do and how to do it. All of this is putting you in such an immersive state that you are actually getting nervous. What if zombies breaks into my base while I'm sleeping? You have this unnerving feel of losing control and putting everything you had to danger. I was afraid of zombies seeing light, so I was hiding in a bathroom every time my character read books. I don't want to explain too much, because this feeling is coming from understanding the game itself and unraveling it. However, there is a one genius aspect of this game, which is zombification. When you get hurt by a zombie, you have a chance of being infected, which means a certain death after some time. If this is a scratch, the chance is not being high, so you get a little bit nervous, but you are hoping for the best. But being bitten is practically a death sentence. However, there is an extremely small chance that you won't get infected. And this is so powerful. Everyone would kill themselves after getting bitten or just start a new game, but here it is different. It's a beautiful simulation of thinking, I don't want to die, maybe there is a chance for me, maybe something is different. That for sure would happen in a realistic scenario for a lot of people. The last useless hope that maybe you are the chosen, maybe you are the luckiest man in the universe. It creates a strong value of life as something that we will hold to, even if it's pointless. Maybe this time it will be different, but Probably not. And thanks to those aspects, I had such a fun time playing Project Zomboid for the first 12 hours. I must admit that after this time Project Zomboid became a complete agony that I could barely went through. I don't know who the hell thought that inventory, in a survival sandbox where you're mostly interacting through equipment, thought that dividing items only into those that you have equipped and those that you have in your backpack without categorizing them is a good idea. They are also in the same window. The more you use it, the more tiresome it becomes. It's so excruciating, so counterintuitive, that I don't really wanna interact with things. You can use clocks to attract zombies by setting an alarm and placing it, but when I think that I need to find it in one of my storages, take it into the inventory, take it out of my inventory, set it up, put it down, it's just... oh no. Segregating your storage in Minecraft or other games is maybe not fun, but it's intuitive. It's a slot system, so even if nothing is really categorized, it is clear and easy to read or interact with it. Here it's like reading a chaotic Excel sheet that is constantly changing. However, there is one problem that had been cursing this game from the first day that it was released. Something that is actually a mark of the game. You said on the beginning, you'll see it every time you play as a new character. I believe that this intro has anchored the game into the state that it was 9 years ago. It isn't only an intro, but the way that the world of Project Zomboid is structured. Let's look at the death itself in psychological and philosophical way and ask ourselves the question, is the death of a person complex? It is an easy to answer question. Foremost, the answer is yes. We are dealing with basically stopping a history of that person, which is being written from the beginning of his birth. The loss of him, the feelings around it, how did he feel before, was he satisfied with his life, was he not, did he want to die? It's just a tip of the iceberg. That is something that we as humanity were scared of basically from the beginning, trying to cope with it through religion or philosophy. We are afraid of it, however a human can cause it without a pat of an eye. It is something scary, but also something that makes us alive. We can talk about it for infinity. However, if we remove all of those emotional aspects, all of it, and leave the death itself without anything, it isn't really it. There is no weight to life. It is like a person that was only good for his whole life, or someone who never knew what sadness is. It doesn't happen and it isn't exciting. But Jusek, what are you talking about? How is it connected to the game in any way? It is just a zombie game, so stop overanalyzing. Maybe I am, but let's look at how other games are showing death and its importance to the world. In previous video I talked about Stalker, and that is everywhere in that world. Almost every Stalker in the game acknowledges that at some point of time they will die, probably in most horrendous way. But I don't believe that any of them regrets coming there, escaping from weird problems of everyday normal life. Stalkers are balancing on the line of death and life in the zone, and that makes them alive. When they are in danger, in their heads there is only this moment, the thing that really matters. It adds so much weight when they are sitting next to fire, playing guitar and laughing, knowing that they will probably die next month, a week or even a day. Stalker shows it as a way to feel truly alive the closer you are to death. It is something that you don't really think about when playing this game. However, it creates so much life, believability and investment to this world. There is none of this in Project Zomboid. You basically are born in a house, try to survive and die at the end. There is no appreciation, no happiness, no laughter, no relief throughout the whole journey. Bleak attempts at survival for really nothing. No hope that something will be different. If you are bitten and you somehow survive, it still doesn't matter because there is only death. Intro is so iconic that I don't think they will ever remove it. There will always be this only feeling of everything being pointless. Because of that I did not feel good playing this game. I did not feel excitement from the moment I understood the mechanics. There weren't really any emotions that I could experience from the world. There are only zombies wandering around, nothing that has more context than a barren apocalypse, worse than Fallout 76, in which you are completely alone. The best thing is that the first version of Project Zomboid did it better. At the start you had to take care of your wife for a few days because she had a broken leg. It isn't anything amazing or even good, but it sets you in place as a person. You can basically choose who you want to be. Tend to her, showing that this character hopes that everything will be okay and will come back to a normal life, no matter how naive it is. Prove yourself as a coward and run away from the house, leaving her to die. You can set yourself as someone trying to survive no matter what, by suffocating her with a pillow. It is basic, but at least it showed anything than a blank slate, spawning randomly in a house that can never experience anything remotely positive before dying. And it could be only a beginning. They could expand this whole idea to different beginning scenarios and situations that could make it alive. Okay, but some people can say that the emotions and fun comes from defeating challenges that this game gives you. However, in Project Zomboid there is no clear challenge. Trying to survive is an objective in almost every game, so it isn't anything special. Basic message I took from the game was, do whatever you want, you will still die. It's not really a message that invites me to play the game. For example, 7 Days to Die, a zombie sandbox game that is also in early access for many years, has a very simple, indirect and brilliant message. I bet you won't survive at the end of the week. And it is repeated every 7 days after defeating a big horde of zombies that is attacking your location. You want to show otherwise and prove that this is not true, so we are exploring, gathering resources and thinking of ideas how to overcome this problem that is gradually getting harder and harder. You have a purpose in the game and you set up small objectives yourself to help you with winning the challenge. In Project Zomboid there is none of that. You don't feel compelled to do anything because there is nothing out there that would bring your attention. Challenge rises only with resources like water, power or food, but nothing uncontrollable. And that is another problem in this game. There are no events unless you count a sound of a flying chopper or other audio interactions. I realized something when my character spent 3 days inside a base, reading books. Nothing happened during that time. Some may say that is the point, but it makes you realize that nothing happens unless you do something. It means that you have control of exactly what is going on because it can only involve you. World of Project Zomboid isn't alive, and I don't really care that grass is getting taller, or trees grow up, or that zombies breaks into houses. Alone, it isn't interesting. The problem is that you have such many things that affects your character, but nothing that really is out of your control. What if a bus filled with zombies ramps into one of the houses? What if a car nearby your base suddenly goes off with an alarm? One of the maps has a prison. What if gates inside it were electrical, so when the power goes off a giant zombie horde starts roaming around the map, which is a dangerous element. You can kill it one after one or manipulate with sound, also it would open a new area. This one thing alone would improve the experience by a lot and the possibilities are countless. But because there is nothing like it, you have nothing to appreciate, nothing to spice up the experience. Everything feels the same and uneventful. 3 of those things that I notice are not really a big problem on their own, but combined they create this unsatisfactory feeling of being pointless. Fixing at least one of those would help, but now I don't really have a reason to play this game. And I want to address that those things are very subjective, and for many very dedicated fans it isn't a problem, and I'm super jealous that you can have so much fun while playing it. If anyone disagrees or want to have something to say, please do it. Still, I'm very positive with the future of this game, and I think that NPC update would address a lot of those problems. Project Zomboid still has an amazing gameplay core. It will still evolve thanks to very passionate developers, and you, fans that are enjoying Project Zomboid. Just like my channel wants to evolve, so if you had fun watching it, please click a subscribe button, leave a like, roast me in the comments, agree or disagree with what I said. Thanks for watching and bye.